Hey guys, I am Mr. Lex and this is BrBpTV, Be Real, Be Positive Television right there. And then guys, and of course this is the reactions, vibrations that I'm doing as a result of my channel, my Mr. Lex reaction channel, guys, receiving its second strike. And as a result of getting the second strike, we have a sort of 2-week suspension from posting. So we'll be definitely posting more on BrBpTV. So with that said guys, subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you can get more videos as they tend to come through right there and then. This reaction is kind of coincides more with what I tend to do on the BrBpTV platform. So these videos are going to stay on the platform right there. Now guys, this is actually a screenshot of what took place on Sunday night, I believe it is, or Monday night, one of them. I think it's Monday night right there, guys. And of course this is the incident that took place in MAHAUT. We got a bit about updated situation right there. Of course I received this video as well, but I received it after I did the reaction, and that is the individual in question where they stated that they arrested the white man. I'm gonna give some more information in that. I found it rather fishy. So it seems like there was SWAT and, well, not SWAT, but individuals dressed in military attire for one man. You swear it's war that they are going into, but no guys, as you can see on this thing, this is one of the things that people, I think a lot of people took out of context. They thought that there were guns and drugs inside this container, and they were like, yo, what is going on? I heard a number of persons saying that there are guns and cocaine and other drugs. First of all, where did individuals get that in the first place? Because I also got a report stating today that the police stated that they didn't see or get any guns in the container. I don't know if that is accurate, but that is what I've been stated, or has been stated to me right there. So I found it rather interesting what persons were saying. But of course, I just remember when I had my situation happen, of course, individuals were saying all sorts of strange things that have absolutely no precedence to do in reality or the truth. So I'm sure that when individuals were saying all sorts of things, it was not necessarily accurate. Now, I did say I had, he messaged me a few times, you know, in terms of coming to Dominica and so forth, bringing his family, you know, and of course trying to spread the gospel, which of course, this is what this means. If you reject Christ, utter chaos will follow suit. That is what that meant. But a number of persons thought that a lot of Christians were getting strapped up, and if they come to you with the gospel and you reject it, then, you know, I don't know where people tend to get these kind of things, but that's what they were saying right there. I think we have I remember listening to is it a documentary or something some individual was saying in terms of the human cognition. A lot of us tend to be drawn more to the negative rather than the positive. This is why negative information tends to spread very fast, and positive doesn't spread as fast, because it's like, okay, yes, but negative, we are prone to the negative things. So when individuals say negative things, it just runs like wildfire all across the place. Because guys, let me tell you something. If I did not get an email of that individual and his discussions and certain things that he wanted to do in Dominica, which of course is spreading the gospel, when I listened to these individuals, I would swear that this guy was some sort of, you know, ISIS individual. I would swear that he's based off what individuals were saying. But that is not the case at all. Concerning, this is why I'm tending to do these videos right there, so individuals get a clear understanding of who this individual is. Now, guys, don't get me wrong, I don't know who this individual actually is. I can only make my statement based off the discussions that was had, and of course him coming to Dominica to try to spread the gospel. One of the things I told him when he comes to Dominica, let me know so that I can link him to some of the pastors that are actually there, because that's one of the things that he wanted to do, get involved in ministry and so forth and so forth. But of course, I don't want to keep this thing going too long, because we have a whole thing to read. So this is them taking him. Now, based on the information I got today, they're stating that the police individuals, well, it's alleged that the police individuals stated that they did not see or get any guns. So if they didn't get any guns, why are they then arresting him? Apparently, they didn't give the reason why they did that. So there must have been some extra thing going on in that regard. Hopefully we'll get to find out what that is. But of course, individuals were sending me pictures of this thing right there, stating that these are some of these items. And it seems like these are items to come and do some work. So this looks like a shovel, a pickaxe, shovels and different things there. A safe, I don't know what the safe is for. Then you continue, see some of the handles, a few bags, sleeping bags, and I think that's his name on this one. I'm not sure what this is. And a few toiletries, Amazon, foam. So I'm not really sure what people think he was going to be doing as a result of having these kind of items right there. And then we saw this thing. Now, based off what an individual was stating on Facebook, an individual made this post stating that there was rocket launchers and all kind of things found. Guys, this is not rocket launchers. These are shells. And of course, I'm not really sure what this thing is doing there. It could have been he probably brought them to show individuals what certain things look like. He's an individual from the United States, and you know, I think the second amendment is the right to bear arms. I think that is it, the second or third, whichever it is, right there, guys. And of course, there was no rocket launchers found. I don't know why individuals were on Facebook saying strange things, but you know, people like to spread stories. They did me the same thing too. they were saying all kind of strange things right there, but that's fine. Eventually, what? The truth will come out right there. This is also, well, pretty much the same thing. I guess it's a reiteration of the same items. Number of persons taking this. However, there was a safe. I'm not really sure what is in the safe. It could be that he decided to bring along a few some cash or something, and decided to have it in the safe, which is not a bad thing at all. This is not illegal. So I'm not really sure why persons, you know, went to the extreme right there. Anyways, his sister messaged me today, guys, a few minutes ago, stating he is my brother, and there is so much more to the story. Christ or chaos is exactly what you stated when I stated it yesterday right there, guys. You choose Christ or choose chaos. It's true. You choose heaven, you choose hell. You have a choice to make. You're already on your way to a particular one. It's better that you choose Christ. You know what I mean? Just in case, now, man. Yeah? Whether you believe him or not, just in case, now. Protect yourself. Just like when you go and take insurance now. Yes, you're going to take insurance for your car. You're not saying I'm going to take insurance for me to end up in an accident. You know, you're saying you're taking insurance just in case, brothers and sisters. You don't want to be on the bad side, and next thing something happens to you and boom. Or next thing you realize, hey, but wait a while, Christ is really, but it's too late. No man can pray for you, no. Pope Prisca, pray. Anyways, so his sister is saying he has a huge heart and really just wants to help people find Christ. Doesn't dislike you if you don't follow Christ. Actually does the opposite. He comes alongside that person and he loves on them, pretty much loves them even more. Right there. I don't know all of what is going on, but remember, there is a family involved and more to the story. Of course, there's more to the story right there. And one thing I must point out, this was actually sent to me a number of times, a bit of a while ago, and it says it's very hard to bury the truth. It will pop right back up no matter how many feet deep you try to bury it right there. And this is where we're coming into this thing right there. Of course, on the Gab, he actually has a Gap page. The Gap page right there, Grogs in Dominica. This one was the 30th of March. We are in April, so that was about 19-20 days ago when they made this article. I'm gonna get the actual article right there, guys, so my computer can actually read it. So I don't want to, you know, you might not be able to see, guys, but I'm gonna make my computer read it so you guys can actually hear what it's being stated right there. I'm gonna use the translator to get it. What is this?
This is gonna be a tough newsletter to digest and to write. I won't blame you if you're left in utter disbelief. Realization hasn't completely sunken from me as of yet. I'm not even sure how best to share this. Jason suggested a timeline, so let me try that. We'll start with the owner of our rental, Miss Sandra Prince. I wrote about how we met her when we were walking around Belfast with Deborah. Keep in mind that Deborah is the VP of Feed My Sheep. She and the ministry are the ones who got us here, and she was our lifeline. You might remember how Sandra agreed to rent her house to use while she was in Holland and how she took off before handing over the keys. We spent 2 or 3 nights in the home of one of Deborah's very gracious friends until Deborah got things smoothed out.
No, according to that, I remember he actually messaged me stating that he was house sitting in Belfast. I'm not sure if that is actually the same thing, but I remember that's what he stated to me right there, that they were house sitting in Belfast. Anyways, let's continue right there.
Ever since then, Sandra had been apologetic about what happened and very gracious to us. She and I have kept in communication since that time, texting at least once a week. She was always supportive and encouraging, sending scripture and words of wisdom. She seemed very concerned about us as a family, the kids, and myself. She knew it would be hard to find a decent place for us to live as a family of 6. She made it.
So I guess in that this Deborah lady, she tried to assist them in getting accommodations right there.
Clear, there was no rush for us to get out, and when she came, she had a room at her brother's she could stay in. I still hadn't found anything. This happened a couple of times as she was planning on coming back, and then changed her plans due to family matters in Holland. This left us, okay, maybe just me, on a bit of a roller coaster, and longing for a place I wouldn't have to move out of based on someone else's schedule. And then came the day Sandra asked if we'd fix up the lower, so she could stay there when she came to visit and we could stay in the upper house, while she just asked for a bedroom and a bathroom. We knew we couldn't give her just that. We wanted to give her more. Even with the small amount she wanted, it still would have required a decent amount of demolition and rework since the plumbing didn't work and the electrical was a complete mess.
So I also heard individuals speaking about that same aspect right there, stating that he was apparently doing something to the house. Well, apparently, according to them, you know, they were actually doing something to the house as a result of, you know, she trying to make accommodations for her and them feeling like they need to do the same thing for her. It's interesting. Let me just, no, let's continue that way.
This is when Jason suggested we start with a clean slate down there. Sandra readily agreed with his decision, and the work began in earnest. Vol #2 issue #14. As with most construction projects, they take more time, money, and effort than anticipated. This was no different. We finally had to let Sandra know it would not be ready for her to move into when she came. She acknowledged it wasn't what she'd planned, but it is what happened.
Okay, and she continued to thank Jason for the work he was putting in, saying she would be forever thankful. Okay.
Jason, for his part, kept Sandra in the loop all the time. He sent her pictures, videos, voice, and text chats. He would ask what she thought of his ideas, and she was always in agreement with him, still thanking him for his work. Fast forward to her arrival on Island for the time since December 2021. Jason and I made the hour trip, January 28th, across the island to greet her at the airport and take her to her brother's. We stopped by our place, gave her a loaf of homemade bread, and a real quick view of the lower's progress. The next day she picked up her transport, which Jason and Jamie had fixed for her, free of labor costs, and she got a better view of the lower. She was still excited and pleased at how it was turning out and how nicky it was going to be. We had her over at least twice more for lunch and to discuss ideas. Not once did she express any displeasure or disappointment. So imagine our surprise when she asked us to meet her at Deborah's, Friday, March 10th, and told us to stop all work and the lower apartment and to move out by June. She told us to make a list of all the expenses incurred and reparations would be made. She cried, we hugged, we
talked, we were disappointed but left on good terms. She's the owner, what could you do? What could we do? True. Deborah kept pretty quiet this whole time. Okay, let's continue right there.
Jason did ask permission to work until March 31st and see if he could get the bathroom going and enclose one room. If he could do that, and she would be willing, she could still move in. She'd extended her stay until April 194, and maybe change her mind about stopping the work. We went home, got her the expenses list in detail, and went about work in the lower again. Back in July 2022, agreements were made between Jason and Feed My Sheep regarding us purchasing a truck and donating tea to their ministry. The purpose was twofold. They would have a vehicle that would help with all their projects and then some, without paying a cent. We would buy it, insure it, maintain and maintenance it, and be able to use it for our family's ministry transportation. The truck arrived on Island March 4th. Jason and Sister Marietta, Feed My Sheep worker, spent roughly 2 days working together on all the paperwork needed to clear it. It took about a week longer for all that to be approved, and on March 10th, Jason drove the truck off the dock. This was shortly after our meeting with Sandra and Deborah. The next day, March 1st, Sandra texts, "Fair upset. Shesha D time at O look over our expenses sheet and she didn't like what she saw. T hurry WS, ILSO a misunderstanding. In asking to have until the end of March to get her a working bathroom and bedroom." The next day, March 1st, Sandra texts, "Fair upset. Shesha D time at O look over our expenses sheet and she didn't like what she saw. T hurry WS, ILSO a misunderstanding. In asking to have until the end of March to get her a working bathroom and bedroom." Jason had told her on the 10th that no more money out of pocket would be needed, and that we had all the materials required. What he should have specified, though, is that T didn't include added labor. Sandra lost dot. T Jason called her, trying to explain, but it was no good. Later that same day, she tells us to be out no later than March 31st. That only gave us 3 weeks to find another place to live and move on. Family plus things. Keep in mind we've been here almost a year and a half.
Wow.
On top of that, our funds are depleted because of the lower apartment project, and now Sandra is also refusing to reimburse us any of it or pay Jason for his labor. We tried to arrange a meeting with her and her pastor to civilly discuss the matter biblically. Not Arnold did she flat refuse, but that made her even more angry. She threatens to call a lawyer. We said we'd meet with her lawyer too. That'd be fine as a third party, and that we're packing and we'll be out by the end of May as long as a financial agreement could be reached. 4 days later, on March 15th, Deborah texts Jason saying he needs to be at an emergency Feed My Sheep meeting. She also asked him to bring all the paperwork for the truck so they could get it cleared, even though she knew it was already cleared. At this meeting, Jason was given a 3-page dismissal letter. It was full of lies and accusations. She listed him as a probationary volunteer, even though he'd been working with them for almost a year and a half. In addition, about 6 months ago, he'd been told by Deborah that he was now a board member.
So based off what they're saying now, they're saying that he was not any part of Feed My Sheep. Next time
Jason was not allowed to defend himself, nor answer any of the questions thrown at him. Part of the reason for his dismissal, as listed in the letter, was his lack of respect towards Sandra's ownership of her property and transparency in relation to your business dealings with her, having escalated into a serious legal matter. This was followed by moral eyes saying that Feed My Sheep is who got us Sandra's house to live in the first place. They reiterated that since we're no longer FMS volunteers, we leave Sandra's property by the end of the month, peacefully.
So that's where that letter came from.
In that letter, we were also told to remove all of our personal possessions from the Feed My Sheep property, including the shipping container, by the end of April. However, we can only be on their property to move our things out, under the supervision of Namond, one of the board members and a pastor. He sat quietly by while Deborah berated Jason at the meeting on the 15th. He, as well, wasn't allowed to speak. He's also Deborah's cousin, and rents his apartment from her.
But why did all that escalate though? I don't get it. Something's not matching there at all. But the show must go on.
Without proper legal notice minimum. 1 clear ONTH. March 17th, Jason received a call from CID, Criminal Investigations Division, wanting him to come in and talk about the truck. Jason referred him to our lawyer.
So the truck was there before, guys. March 17th. The truck or the container? Which one? Anyways, let's continue.
March 17th, the inspector of police for MAHAUT showed up at our gate, wanting to talk with Jason, saying certain actions will be taken. Jason wasn't home at the time, and he didn't specify why he wanted to talk with him. Jason called him back and referred him to our lawyer as well. She was actually on the phone with the MAHAUT station during this time, Jason having given her a heads up. March 20th, while Jason and Jamie were trying to find a craving chick, only feet away from the gate, Deborah, Sandra, and 2 other people pull up and enter the property, unannounced. As a landlord, Sandra is allowed on the property as long as she gives us notice. She did not.
Sounds like there was some beef taking place there.
Jason tried to verbally stop them, but he was too far away. I know it was no coincidence that there was an abandoned chick outside the fence, and that the gate had been momentarily left open. The timing was too perfect. This group proceeded to investigate the lower apartment while the kids locked all the upper house doors, and Jason and myself videoed the encounter. The other two individuals were a contractor and supposedly an engineer. They were looking for reasons to make a fuss. Nasty things were said by Sandra, including calling me a scam artist, since I informed her I had all the
what? All the records.
Records needed to show we've done nothing outside of her will. March 21st, Jason's not home during any of this. Deborah, Sandra, the engineer, someone from SID, and Thelical MAHAUT sergeant show up. I was told Sandra had filed a police report for malicious property damage, and he needed to take pictures and investigate. I told him since he did not have a search warrant, I would not allow any OFTHEM onto the property. They left.
So that's probably the whole incident. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the container. That's probably why they took him. Because there was a bit of a misunderstanding or a disagreement between them.
Only a handful of minutes later, they all return, minus Deborah, and they added to their number. This time, they were accompanied by the task force, a van full of men, all in black, wearing tactical vests, and bearing a mini battering RM. They wouldn't answer my question regarding a search warrant, only demanding I open the gate. They said since they had the property owner with them, they didn't need anything else. Turns out even the property owner has to give the tenant notice of them coming.
So it seems like probably the property owner wanted to get in, but couldn't get in because, you know, telling them that they need to leave, I guess, as the end of March 31st instead of June. Interesting. That's probably why it happened that way, because then they escalated it up to March 31st, and then I guess the whole of the CID individuals, they came. So it has nothing necessarily to do with the container. Oh, I think, guys, let me just make that run here, because yeah, that is plenty there. That is, well, all you get in the full scoop, full scoop. Oh, I missed out a part. Let's go there. Technology, boy, technology. What are you doing though, bro? Guys, the CID guy walked around taking pictures and placing this guy right there. I saw him today. He like to take pictures, but he afraid his picture taken. Anyways, guys, so he walked around and so forth, blah blah blah. And yeah. Oh, let's go back a little more.
The head of HE task force said he had to make sure Jason wasn't actually on the property and proceeded to search the house with another task force member. This also was illegal, and if we weren't shaken up enough, Deborah sent me a message through a MUTUL friend that I needed to have a bag packed, because the police were taking this very seriously and immigration could come at any time to deport me, and she wanted me to be able to take my valuables and any keepsakes with me. I slept terribly that night. I also did not pack a bag.
So that's what actually happened, guys. It's not necessarily anything to do with the container. The container was his, and as a result, they moved the container off
March
the property.
22nd, the local sergeant shows up, asking Jason to come talk with him down at the station. Jason gave him our lover's card, and they all met on the 23rd. Finally, something went well, very well actually, with Jason laying out our most convincing evidence that left the police shamefaced. Our lawyer proceeded to shame them even more by saying their actions pretty much amounted to an assault on me and the children.
Good record keeping. This is why it's good to have record of incidences, guys. Trust me on that one.
Here's where I'm very grateful for having kept meticulous records. You know, the records that got me called a scam artist. Shortly after Sandra gave us her handwritten eviction notice, Jason contacted a lover. He had a phone interview with her, but had made no payments yet. After the brute squad showed up, Jason drove straight from where he was to the lover and paid her retaining fee. We went to work.
Where am I? This is so confusing. Where am I? Oh, there. Yes, guys, this thing is very long. Very, very long indeed. Not sure why. I sent her almost all the documents I had, everything from complete WhatsApp text going back to 2021, emails, voice chats, videos, Excel sheets with expenses, materials, receipts paid, rent receipts, and the timeline I wrote up based on all that. As things continue to heat up, security cameras and phone videos were also sent. Man, I tell you. So you guys getting the understanding. It has nothing to do with the container, but that to do with a bit of a, I think we understand what's going on, guys. So I'll just post this web page for you guys to check it out, and you will get to
Miss
see.
Jelaine went to work fighting for us, and she's done amazing. She mailed cease and desist letters to the Commissioner of Police, and Sandra went to the meeting at the police station with Jason, encouraged me, and filled me in on what the police are and are not allowed to do. She even came to our house after the police meeting to meet us all in person, talk with the kids, and in general, get to know us a bit. While she was here, I asked her if she had any thoughts on motives behind this explosion against us. She said she's pretty sure it has to do with jealousy, Sandra knowing she can't pay us back, even though that was never Th. Eplin, and her thinking she could get out of the financial obligations by cheating us white foreigners. Miss Jelaine does seem to think race and nationality has something to do with it.
That is very interesting right there. Is it far-fetched? I don't think so. But all I would advise these individuals to do, guys, is just get their own thing. If you can buy land and so forth. I actually messaged them on that very same situation though, before they told me that they were doing house sitting, because I know some individuals wanted to sell land and so forth. So I told them, and then he told me they were doing some house sitting. But I didn't even know that they were in Dominica that long. I thought they came this year. I thought they recently came and then brought the container with them, not realizing that all this was happening right there. I think they stated that they were in Dominica for about a year and something. That is a long time. Guys, the sun is on me, man. I need to change my location. But you guys pretty much get the gist of this thing right there. It has nothing to do with the container or having guns or drugs inside there. But it pretty much has a lot to do with, you know, the disagreements. And of course, I was thinking to myself, why did this happen? It seems like she probably wanted them to do something in the house, and they were doing it, and they said, okay, well, you'll reimburse us for doing that. You come and stay there, you know what? But I guess the person realized that they couldn't reimburse them, and as a result of that, you know, things happen. So there's always two sides to the story, guys. This is another side of the story. Which one do you believe? Which one do you believe? Right there is a better question. Like I said before, I'll post this article in the description below so you guys can check it out. More of them. There's a number of them. As you can see, guys, this is volume 3. There's volume 2. There's volume 1. And, you know, volume 3, issue 4. So there's quite a number of them on his gap. Look, the information is right there, guys. No need for me to put it up, but I'll put it in the description below anyway. gap.com/JasonGen. Okay, guys, so you can definitely check it out and see what's going on in that regard. So we pretty much understood, you know, it's not drugs and guns that they're talking about. Anyways, guys, if you all lasted right there, give this video a thumbs up if you understand it. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe and turn on that post notifications so you can get more videos as they tend to come through, guys. I'll see you guys. The light is shining on me, man. I'll see you guys.